In this video I show you how I make this little album that I call the Color Country Count, containing collages and the names of the countries that I've already visited. Hello everyone, this is Steffi from Little Steffi Big World, and this album I'm doing from scratch, so I need my score and trim board. I'm gonna use some old atlas to do the cover. I'm using some basic colors, so unicolors. I'm using some craft papers, and I'm mainly using loads and loads of scraps that I've collected. The bigger pieces are in this bag and the really small ones in the second bag. Now to do the album, I'm using my bookbinding guide, I'm using some thread, and of course I need some glue. And I'm also using some scrap washi tapes, so these are at the end of their lifetime basically. I wanted to use some specific rolls like the one with the pandas for China or the cork for Portugal, but in the end I don't do that. Now I've punched out some letters as well out of old maps to form the words, the names of the countries that I've already visited. And I've got some black cardstock, lots and lots of scraps which I'm actually using, and I thought I'd be using these scraps from the craft paper as well. Well, let's go. Now I'm choosing a page out of this old atlas which I've had from 1998 or something, and it's falling apart anyway, so I'm choosing one of them to be the cover. And I'm using one orange paper here because I don't use the orange one too much to back it up, because the paper of this map is very thin and I want to make the cover of it. Now I'm using this basically for putting this in the middle of the cover. So I'm gluing this down and I'm smoothing it out so it's completely flat, and then I'm cutting out the edges just roughly so it's not at a right angle. And you can buy specific tools so you get them like perfectly, but if you just cut them up a little bit off an angle, that's totally fine. Now, because the map is bigger than the A4 paper that I'm using, it's overlapping already. So I'm just folding the sides. I'm always starting with the longer sides. I think I've seen it somewhere on YouTube, someone saying, yeah, do the longer sides first and then the smaller sides. And now I'm gluing this down, and so I have already the outer side of my cover. And I have this rainbow tissue paper in my stash for quite a while. I got them years ago from my mother-in-law, so thank you very much. Which is absolutely perfect for this album because I decided to do this in a rainbow color. So I'm gonna do my scraps, I'm gonna sort them by color, which I'm gonna show you in a little bit, and then I'm gonna do a colorful scheme throughout the album. So I'm gonna glue this down on the inside of my cover, so this is gonna form the inner covers basically. So I'm just smoothing this out, and that's what it's gonna look like on the inside. So now I'm using my trim and scoreboard actually just to score this in the middle. You don't need a scoreboard, if you're just scoring your paper in the middle, you can just fold it and score it very carefully with the bone folder or anything a little bit thicker, so it just smoothens out and it's really flat. So you don't actually need this, but I'm gonna use this because I have it. So now, I don't know why, but it's a little bit off. It's actually not in the middle. I haven't scored it in the middle because I've used the inch side. The scoreboard has the inch scale at the top and the centimeters at the bottom. I should have used probably the centimeters at the bottom. It would have been easier for me because in Germany we use the metric system. Now I've chosen 8 craft papers for the pages, and now I'm folding these, I'm scoring these in the middle and folding them, putting it down, even flatter with the bone folder. I'm gonna do this with all the 8 pages, all the 8 that I've chosen from the craft papers. So in total I have 32 pages now for my album. I've already been to 30 countries, so I thought that's a good number. Now with the bookbinding guide, this is the first time I've been using this. So you're screwing this little plastic piece up, and then I decided I need some clips to keep everything in place, to keep the cover and the pages in place, and then I can put it down into the bookbinding system. And now I'm doing this in slow-mo, this force clip. You can see I'm trying to, you know, take it onto the pages and it just flies away. Yeah, this just happens. Anyway, so I'm putting this down there, and actually this plastic piece is not straight, it's at an angle, and you should put the angle down so it's actually keeping your album or your pages in place better. Well, it still worked for me, but next time I'm doing it the other way around. The bookbinding guide comes with a little booklet showing you how you can do the kettle stitching, the cobble stitching, and the Japanese binding. And I'm just doing a very simple kettle stitching. So with the pokey tool that comes with the guide, I'm poking every second hole actually. I don't want to do a lot of going through with the needles. I'm just taking every second hole, but at the very top I'm deciding, okay, there's a little bit of space left, I'm going to do another hole a little bit closer, which for me is fine. But if you wanted to have it more even out, you might need to take all the holes, or you know, it depends on the size of the album that you want to do. Now it comes with a straight needle and a curved needle as well, so I'm using the straight needle, and it comes with waxed thread, but I'm not using that. I decided I wanted to use this like golden thread that I have. So I'm taking the double of the length of the album and putting a little bit of extra to it. And then it's a bit harder to get this thicker thread through the needle hole. So I've cut this out. Actually, it took me quite a while to get it through, but I managed. I'm starting at the top and then going down through every hole and then coming up, you know, through the holes. So I'm starting with the first one. I'm letting out a little bit of the twine, and then I'm going through the next hole. I'm coming up on the back again. So, and then I'm going through the next hole, so I'm on the inside again, and then this is going on and on like this. So I'm just going to fast forward this here again. So I'm going through every hole, you know, from the inside to the outside and back to the inside again until I'm at the bottom, and then you have to go up again, and you're going through the same holes where you've been before, and it's a little bit of wiggling around because you have the cover. My cover has 3 layers, and then I have 8 pages, and there's some thread already in that hole, so it's a little bit of wiggling and waggling, and the length of my thread is luckily long enough. So I'm just making a very simple double knot at the very top. But first I make sure everything is tight, but not too tight, because I'm putting so much stuff in. It's gonna need a little bit of room to expand, you know, when everything gets thicker. You know, at the moment it's very thin. The whole album, it feels so fresh and new, but once you put in stuff, it's gonna get so thick. Now, because my cover, it's got my cover not exactly in the middle. The pages are a little bit off on one side, even when the book is open. Normally would do that when you close the book. It's gonna stand a little bit out. So I'm using a metal ruler and my cutter knife. And I've put down a little bit, you know, underneath the album so I don't scratch my table, because I don't have a glass mat or anything like that. And yeah, I'm just going layer by layer and trying to make this really even. Now with the craft paper, it's not a straight cut. Maybe my cutter knife is not that sharp anymore, so it's not completely straight. But for this type of album, for me it's fine. It's just a learning curve. So for my next projects, when I'm doing this kind of albums, I'm going to be using some other paper. I'm going to be using another knife probably to make it really sharp. Now I do have my album. The base is done. Now I'm going through all the scraps that are smaller than A4. So I'm just going through here through my scraps if I've missed anything, and I'm going through the big ones first, and I'm sorting them by color now. I'm sorting them by black and gray, some colorfuls to the top, and then I'm deciding on the rainbow scheme, you know, starting with the pink ones, purple ones, the blues, greens, reds. I'm just fast forwarding this here and jumping, you know, from the different stages of sorting this by colors. And you see I have so much scraps, so many colorful scraps. You don't even see the yellow, it's at the very right. It's actually going out of my frame here. So I'm going through that, and I'm deciding to not use the grays or the browns and stuff. So I'm putting down the name of the color, so which page is the pink one, the purple, the blue, the green, red, orange and yellow, throughout to all these 32 pages. Now I've taken the pinks and I'm sorting them by the basic colors, so the unicolors, and the pattern paper by size, because I decided to do the base colors as a foundation. So I'm going through all the pages that I wrote pink on and using these base colors, and it's a little bit playing like you're playing Tetris, you know, using those scraps to do the foundation. So I'm going through the whole album and covering up the pages. And once I've done that, I'm going to go back to the first page, and then I'm going to be using the pattern paper to do the collaging. And this was so much fun. I can tell you, it was so much fun doing the collages, you know, and just seeing the pile of scraps going smaller and smaller, and at the same time these beautiful pages are coming up. And because I have so much pink, I was able to really go crazy with the embellishments and used so much. I used as much as I could. So some of the pages were really thick, even have like 3 layers on them. Whereas with other colors, like the purple one, for example, or the blue and the yellow, I didn't have as much. So with the purple, for example, I didn't even have enough unicolors to cover all the pages that said purple on them. So I already had to use the pattern paper just to cover the pages. And while I went through the page, I actually missed one of the pages that says purple. So you're gonna see it in a minute when I show you flipping through the pages that I missed one. Now this is what I've got left after I've put on all the scraps. So I've got a lot of pink, some blue, red, a little bit of green, but no yellow, no purple. So I'm very happy with how this turned out. So now I've put in the washi tapes as well, the scrap washi tapes. So I used up 9 rolls of washi tapes in this project as well. So it's this green and red collage. I love it so much. And then now you can see I missed this page that said purple in it. So after the next project, I'm working on my Northern Europe trip album at the moment. I have a lot of purple scraps over. So I'm gonna put this in after I finish that. So this is a work in progress. This album is not finished. You know, I'm gonna put in more scraps. I'm hopefully be able to see some other countries that I haven't been to. So these are gonna go in there as well. Now, with the countries that I visited, I have got these letters. These are the ones that are left over, and I use these black stripes as the backing of the country names. So yeah, the Z of Czech Republic is the wrong way, and I didn't notice until I've put it into my album actually. So I've been to 30 countries. I'm not sure, I think you have to count Hong Kong separately to China, and I also think you have to count the Isle of Man separately. So this is how I used my black cardstock scraps. I've cut it down so it's a little bit nicer. And now I've decided that I'm putting the names in the middle of the pages. My initial plan was to put the names at the top, so I could put a picture of me in that country, you know, in front of a unique or very recognizable landmark underneath that. Like in France, of example, I would put, of course, a picture of me in front of the Eiffel Tower, for example. But because of all the scraps, because of all the layers of scrap papers, and there was some really thick paper in between as well, the album was already so big that I decided to not do that. So I'm just putting the names of the countries in the middle. So I have to put down the names underneath each other, like Sri Lanka and Luxembourg. I had to cut it apart. But yeah, I'm so happy. I was thinking about this idea for over a year now. Now I've decorated the cover. I've put in a charm, which is actually an old earring of mine, but it broke. So this is basically a scrap which have been in my stash for a few years, and I'm just showing you, the quick flip through. So I've just put the name of country Turkey here on a clip. So once I'm finished with my next project, I can put in the purple scraps there and then can glue in the word Turkey there. And yeah, for this side, for example, I need some more scraps before I can decorate it. Yeah, I hope you like this idea. I've been to 30 countries, so I've got still 2 pages left in this book, and I'm actually thinking about doing a second book for my daughter because she is traveling a lot as well. So yeah, subscribe to my channel, give this album a thumbs up if you liked it, and yeah, stay tuned, stay safe, and scrapbook on. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.